Your brain has a fever switch, two nodes. Kyoto University found in 2014 that blocking either one completely shuts it off. But here's what nobody tells you: that same switch fires during psychological stress, with no virus, no bacteria, nothing. Your body can run a measurable fever from anxiety alone, and suppressing it with Tylenol is costing roughly 700 American lives per flu season. By minute 7, you'll see exactly why the pill in your medicine cabinet is statistically linked to those deaths. Let's start the morning it actually matters. You wake up and something feels wrong before you're fully conscious. The sheets are damp. The air against your skin feels like sandpaper. Your throat carries that faint metallic taste that means your body has already been working while you slept. You don't know it yet, but the decision has already been made several hours ago, deep inside your skull. Stay with me, because in about 4 minutes, the fever circuit gets hijacked in a way that has nothing to do with being sick. Before your eyes opened, a molecular alarm was already spreading through your bloodstream. Immune cells detected the invader and released signaling proteins called cytokines. Those cytokines crossed into your brain through a vulnerable patch in the blood-brain barrier near the hypothalamus. Your brain received the report, processed it, and then did something most people never expect. It chose to make you hotter on purpose. That choice isn't metaphor. It's a specific, engineered decision executed by a precise chemical messenger. When your brain decides to raise your temperature, it manufactures a molecule called prostaglandin E2, PGE2. This single chemical physically resets your hypothalamic thermostat upward, like someone reaching into the wall and cranking the dial. Milton and Wendlandt first demonstrated this mechanism in 1971, and it changed everything we thought we knew about fever. Here's what that actually feels like from the inside. The moment your set point rises, your current body temperature is suddenly below target. Your brain interprets this as being cold. That's why you shiver when you have a fever, not because you're cooling down, but because your brain is trying to warm up to a new, deliberately elevated goal. You pull the blankets tighter, searching for warmth you cannot find. Your skin registers the contradiction first. You're sweating and freezing simultaneously. The pillow feels both too warm and necessary. There's a low, pressurized ache behind your eyes, as though someone is inflating a small balloon just inside your orbital socket. Every sound arriving from outside your bedroom, a car door, a bird, anything, feels slightly too loud, slightly too close, slightly wrong. But here's what nobody in your family ever told you. Your brain isn't using your muscles to generate most of this heat. It found a shortcut, and that shortcut involves tissue you probably associate with losing weight. The shortcut is brown fat. Not white fat, which stores energy. Brown fat burns it. You have deposits of it around your collarbone, along your spine, behind your sternum. Your brain commandeers this tissue during fever, forcing it to generate heat directly, bypassing your muscles entirely. Kazuhiro Nakamura's 2014 research at Kyoto University revealed that stimulating the neural pathway between the two fever control nodes artificially forces brown fat to produce heat, while simultaneously spiking your blood pressure and heart rate. Read that again. Your brain hijacks your calorie-burning tissue and weaponizes it. The same biological mechanism that fitness researchers study for its metabolic benefits gets conscripted as a furnace. And it doesn't do this gently, it does it with cardiovascular consequences attached, because the fever isn't meant to be comfortable. It's meant to be effective. Now let's talk about the architecture of how this is actually controlled, because this is where Nakamura's 2014 research becomes genuinely startling. The entire fever circuit, the whole biological weapons system your body deploys against infection, runs through exactly two checkpoints, two nodes, the dorsomedial hypothalamus and the rostral medullary raphe. Block either one, just one, and the fever dies completely. Think about what that means structurally. Evolution spent hundreds of millions of years building a survival mechanism so important that a fever of just 38.5 degrees Celsius makes a human influenza virus replicate more slowly, impairs its ability to bind to cells, and shortens the duration of infection. And that entire system has exactly two off switches. It is extraordinarily efficient. It is also extraordinarily fragile in precisely the right places. The signal travels from the dorsomedial hypothalamus down through the brainstem and out to the periphery, to your brown fat, to your skin vessels, to your cardiovascular system. Nakamura's team traced this pathway by selectively inhibiting neurons at each node. When they blocked the dorsomedial hypothalamus, no fever. When they blocked the rostral medullary raphe, no fever. The circuit required both nodes active. Interrupt anywhere in that chain, and the entire weapon disarms. While all of this is happening inside you, you haven't reached for the Tylenol yet. You're still lying in bed, reading your own body's signals. Your core temperature is climbing. And at this moment, uncomfortable as it feels, your body is doing exactly what it evolved to do. The virus replicating in your airway passages is encountering an environment that is chemically hostile to its survival. Your immune cells, paradoxically, work faster at elevated temperatures. But you're going to reach for that bottle. Almost everyone does. And what happens in that moment is the part this video was actually made to show you. Because here is the number that should make you set the bottle back down. A 2014 mathematical model published in Proceedings of the Royal Society ran the numbers on what happens when entire populations suppress fever simultaneously. But before I show you what they found, you need to understand the mechanism that makes it lethal. Stay with me. The mechanism is viral shedding. When you suppress fever with antipyretics like acetaminophen or ibuprofen, your set point drops back toward normal. The hostile thermal environment your brain engineered disappears. The virus, no longer thermally impaired, replicates faster. You shed more viral particles into every surface you touch, every breath you exhale, every handshake you offer someone who believes you're just fighting a small cold. Animal studies have confirmed this effect using ferrets, the gold standard model for human influenza, because ferrets catch the flu the same way humans do and show nearly identical immune responses. In those studies, antipyretic use in infected animals raised mortality odds by a factor of 1.34. Not a rounding error, not statistical noise. A measurable, reproducible increase in the probability of dying from the same infection, caused by taking the drug designed to help you recover. The 2014 Proceedings of the Royal Society model applied this logic to entire populations. If antipyretic use increases viral shedding, and viral shedding increases transmission, and transmission extends flu season duration and severity, then every person who takes fever-suppressing medication and goes about their day becomes a more efficient vector. The researchers calculated the downstream mortality effect. The number they arrived at was approximately 700 additional American deaths per flu season, attributable to widespread antipyretic use. 700 people, not from some exotic mechanism, not from a rare complication, from the most commonly purchased over-the-counter drug in the world, taken by billions of people every year, for a symptom that their own brain deliberately engineered as a survival weapon. 700 people whose deaths trace back, at least statistically, to the moment someone reached into a medicine cabinet and made what felt like the rational, compassionate choice. Now comes the part that reframes everything you just heard. Because the fever circuit you've been following, the two-node switch, the brown fat hijack, the PGE2 thermostat reset, it isn't only triggered by pathogens. Your brain fires this entire apparatus in response to something else entirely. Something you experience in traffic, in a difficult conversation, before a job interview. Your brain can run a measurable fever from psychological stress alone, with no virus present. This is called stress fever, and it uses the identical neural architecture. Nakamura's research documented that psychological stressors activate the same dorsomedial hypothalamus to rostral medullary raphe pathway that infection activates. The same brown fat commandeering occurs, the same cardiovascular spike, the same PGE2 thermostat manipulation. Your brain does not distinguish at the circuit level between a pathogen and a perceived threat. Both trigger the weapon. Which means the fever apparatus isn't just a response to infection, it's a dual-use system. Your brain built it for survival in a world where heat was a weapon against biological invaders, and then kept the blueprint close enough to the threat detection system that it occasionally fires preemptively. You've almost certainly run a stress fever without knowing it. A slight rise in core temperature before something terrifying. Your body preparing for a threat that never arrived in the form it expected. And here's what makes the stress fever finding genuinely unsettling in a different way than the viral version, because it shows you where the danger lives at the other extreme. If stress can fire the fever circuit without a pathogen, and that circuit can elevate your core temperature by a meaningful margin, then what happens at the ceiling? Walter and Cararetto's 2016 review in Critical Care found that cognitive dysfunction can begin at a core temperature of just 38.8 degrees Celsius held for only 1 hour. When hyperthermia escalates to ICU-level severity, mortality approaches 65%. And roughly 50% of survivors are left with persistent neurological damage. The brain's own heat weapon is one of the most dangerous things it can accidentally deploy against itself. So the picture that assembles is this. Your brain built a precise, two-node weapon to raise your temperature on purpose. It uses brown fat as a furnace and PGE2 as the thermostat override. It fires the same circuit under psychological stress as it does under infection. And the global human response to feeling that weapon activate, reach for the pill, suppress the signal, feel better, is costing a measurable number of people their lives, not by making the individual sicker, but by making them a more effective transmitter while the viral environment they were supposed to maintain stays intact. You came in wondering why a pill taken by billions could be linked to 700 deaths. Here's your answer. 2 nodes, 1 circuit, a hijacked furnace made of brown fat, and a thermostat your brain resets on purpose to make the environment hostile to whatever is trying to kill you. The drug that turns that off doesn't just make you feel better, it disarms the weapon. What would you do differently? Tell me below.